This bill has everything. Basically, it's like if you took fundamentally the philosophy of right-wing politics and then you turned it into one bill, it would be this. And let me give you some details that'll really sell that. So this is going to increase the resources going to the top 10% and lower incomes for the bottom 10%. That's according to the CBO. That's all Republican politics is making sure that what little money the government takes in goes to benefit the wealthiest people in the country, the wealthiest people truly in the world, the wealthiest people arguably in history. And those who are struggling the most will inevitably and unerringly struggle more thanks to the GOP, despite the fact that many of those people were voters for Trump. Now their lives are going to become much harder. This bill is going to slash nearly $1 trillion from Medicaid and the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, formerly known as food stamps. The loss in resources would be due to the cuts to Medicaid and SNAP. The wealthiest 10% would see an increase in income, mainly because of reductions in the taxes that they owe. But I know what you're thinking, wait, okay, sure, they'll get most of the benefits from the tax cuts. They'll get the majority, right? But even if I only make 100,000, 50,000, 20,000, I'll benefit too. Nuh-uh, we'll get to you in just a sec. But first, I also want to remind you, as AOC did earlier, 7.6 million, according to the CBO, will be uninsured 10 years from now, thanks to the cuts to Medicaid. Other estimates put that as high as 14 million. So 7.5 million, 14 million, a measurable percentage of the entire US population will lose health insurance thanks to this. And according to some, that could end up being bad for Trump and the Republicans. Take a look at this.
There's obviously a significant issue of folks potentially losing access to their health care. But if you think of the political problem, folks have always asked, what is it that's going to drive Donald Trump's voters away from him? Well, losing their health care may actually be the answer to that question.
Oh no, say it ain't so, ghost of JD Vance's past, but he might end up being right. Once these people start getting kicked off, they're probably not gonna like that. Now, of course, as you can tell from the fact that you can see his face, that's from quite a few years ago, but he wasn't wrong there. Remember, Trump tried to kill the ACA. If it had not been for John McCain, he would have succeeded. He tried to throw way more than 14 million people off their health insurance, and maybe they'll get to that. Maybe that will be the next big, beautiful bill. But for now, we've got the 14 million. And before we jump into the conversation, I said that I would allude to those at the lowest level of the income ladder, who might think, and I might have even said this, that the estimates showed, well, they'll get like $100 back in tax cuts or whatever. No, according to the most recent analysis, those in the lowest income quintile, annual income of 17,000 or less, they will see their after-tax income cut by $1,035. Meanwhile, the top 0.1% will take home an additional 389 grand. And they needed it because they were only in the top 0.1% already. I mean, how many mansions can you buy on a yearly basis with that? Like 10 at most. But those who earn 17,000 will lose 1,000. They only had 17,000. I don't even know how you can screw them over more, but they found a way. The Republicans did, Daria. What do you think? Oh, Daria, I believe you might have muted yourself.
The entire plan is honestly ridiculous. You have all the tax goodies front loaded and all the spending cuts back loaded. It's like a political layaway plan, basically. And you can tell that it's not good from the fact that it passed 215 to 214, which in political terms means like we barely convinced our own people that this isn't completely insane. And they know it's insane and they know it's gonna hurt older people down the line, but it's just the fact that they don't care. Like you said, Trump has tried to cut the ACA in his first term and now he's back here. He doesn't care if your granny gets her medicine. He doesn't care if your son has diabetes and he won't be able to afford his insulin. That is not his priority. His priority is continuing to get rich and richer. And he's accomplishing that very well. He just got a brand new jet. So, they're gonna see all of this loaded in the back end. And maybe JD Vance's ghost will be right. The voters will finally wake up and say, hey, maybe Donald Trump wasn't for me.
Yeah, and maybe there will still be a U.S. government left for that to matter in regard to, but we'll stay tuned. We'll find out together. In any event, a couple more details before we close out this conversation. Obviously, they're doing all this stuff with work requirements because never forget that the Republicans, when they look out at America, all they see is parasites. They think that every one of you is just trying to get one over on the government. You've got $17,000 and you think you need more. Meanwhile, every one of them was taking massive loans that they got canceled during the pandemic. Elon Musk has been given billions by the government, but we're all parasites. Never forget that. In any event, it's not gonna lead to more people working who were just playing Xbox. Many studies have shown that when you do the added work requirements, that's not actually what happens, because contrary to the myth that they're weaving, there's not millions of people who are just sitting at home and refusing to work. Many of them do work. They can't necessarily reach the number of hours because many of them do have significant health problems. But anyway, yeah, continue with the myth. That'll be fun. Oh, also, so they're cutting SNAP benefits. It's believed, according to the Urban Institute, 5.4 million people will lose their food stamps. I just want to remind everyone, if you're on food stamps, you can't afford to lose food stamps, but millions will. And they're going to put a more significant percentage of the total costs onto the states. Many of those red states are going to be perfectly happy to just cut the food stamps. They didn't care about it in the first place. And also, millions more kids won't get SNAP benefits because there's a change in the bill that would require that you can only get it if both of the parents have social security numbers, because they don't want kids of undocumented migrants getting the food stamps. So I just want to remind you, in their example, these hungry children are citizens, but they're the wrong citizens. They're citizens who have one parent who's a migrant. So who the hell cares if they starve to death, honestly? All of this is just baked into the bill. And we did get, I think there was 2 votes against it. Wasn't enough to actually stop it, but we're just gonna briefly give a little bit of credit to one guy who's willing to be honest about the bill. This is Thomas Massie, take a look.
Well, I'd love to stand here and tell the American people, we can cut your taxes and we can increase spending and everything's going to be just fine. But I can't do that because I'm here to deliver a dose of reality. This bill dramatically increases deficits in the near term, but promises our government will be fiscally responsible 5 years from now. Where have we heard that before? How do you bind a future Congress to these promises? This bill is a debt bomb ticking. Congress can do funny math, fantasy math if it wants, but bond investors don't. And this week they sent us a message. We're not rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic tonight. We're putting coal in the boiler and setting a course for the iceberg. If something is beautiful, you don't do it after midnight.
That's a good line. Yeah, if everything that the House was doing is so popular, which we know from polls it isn't, why are they doing it when everyone's asleep? That's a little bit suspicious. Why are they treating this fabulous bill that's going to usher in a new golden age? Why are they treating it like the Patriot Act? Isn't that a little bit strange? Now, everybody bear in mind that if it was up to Thomas Massie, he'd cut all this spending. Like that is his fundamental problem. It's not that people are losing access to the benefits. He thinks you need to do more cutting because of the debt. So he's not necessarily in agreement with us on what needs to happen, but at least he tried to stop the bill. Plenty of other Republicans were like, this is unacceptable. I'm gonna be dignified. And then they just voted yes for it when it came down to it. So that's fun. Any other quick thoughts, Daria, before we round things up?
I'll give them credit for one more thing. They had these MAGA accounts in the bill at first, and it was supposed to deposit $1,000 for every new baby born in 2026. They decided to change the name from MAGA in the last minute to Trump accounts for the babies. Not much better because, as you know, Representative Joe Nagu said, if they were called Barack accounts, they would have a conniption. So, I don't know if MAGA accounts are better or Trump accounts are better, but I'll give them at least credit for thinking through some branding strategy on that.
Yeah, and by the way, some people have pointed out the fun little appropriation going on in this, that it was a MAGA account, and now it's a Trump account. It was Cory Booker's idea. Like, he was the one who proposed this years ago. Now it's MAGA.